Hi again, everybody. This video is sponsored by a contribution from Ben, and here's his story. Hi, Ollie. I first discovered your baby boomer videos when they began to make my own when I began to make my own observations about my life. My parents are the ultimate baby boomers, and I am an only child. Not a good combo. They have never taken into account what was best for me in my family, in any family decisions. They moved me 3 times for jobs in my youth and lived in exclusive neighborhoods with very few other kids. My father made money in the stock market and is incredibly cocky and entitled. They have no problem throwing ridiculous amounts of money in any situation just so they have control over the situation. As you know, baby boomers are the most selfish. They are resented by most of the family business and colleagues because of their narcissism and their elitist attitudes. There are very few places that they could fit in. It has now come to the point where they have to fully pay for friends and family and fly to visit them to get someone to do something with them. The image they have created for me is a little boy slave that will hang out with them on weekends. Like, it seems as though they only had me last minute at 40 years old as an entertainment pet. They have always been parents that were too old and successful to hang out with other parents of kids my age. We have never been on any father-son trips. He hates outdoors and he's incompatible with other fathers. It's hard to say no sometimes when they are willing to pay hundreds of dollars to get me to do the smallest tasks. I I feel I feel the more I spend I feel the more I spend in this family, the more alienated I become from regular Americans. I will never be the 1% social life as I didn't go to those schools. Every time I say no, they threaten me, we will take you out of the will, and hang money over my head. It seems as though they would rather force people into their image with money before they ever change anything. I haven't been able to get a job all summer and I'm ready to run away to Florida or maybe join the army. I can't escape the social scene that my father has created in the Northeast. Everyone I talk to doesn't want to hear it because their financial situation, which only helps me if I march in line and be a pet the rest of life. I would appreciate your thoughts. Well, it is no question that baby boomers use money to control. If they cut you out of the will, I mean, how you're 40 now, they cut you out of the will, or no, I'm sorry, you're not 40. They were 40 when they had you. That's years and years and years down the road. I understand the job market's hard, but I think what you're saying is, um, you're thinking of moving away, which I think is an excellent idea. You will gain more independence, okay, by setting up your own life without their money and saying, you know what, you want to cut me out of the will, that's on you. I don't want your money. I don't need your money. Because what is that will? Even if you do get that money's blood money. That money is blood money, and the money will never make up for the years of bullshit you went through with these people. The selfishness, the elitism, the grandiosity of them. I don't know why you're saying you'll never be in the 1% social as you didn't go to those. It doesn't matter. 1% isn't over the social skills, it's over how much money you have. If you got the money, you could do whatever you want. Now the question is, what do you want to do to make money? What are you going to do that makes you happy? Okay? And I guarantee you, whatever you try to do, if you say you're going to move to Florida or wherever to do whatever, your parents are going to knock it. They're going to denigrate it and they're going to tell you you can't do it, right? Just like they've been telling you your whole life. That's what narcissists do, especially baby boomers. Just entitled pricks. And that's what they've done. They've sucked up all the wealth. And your father's a perfect example, making his money in the stock market with those scumbags. They are the ultimate baby boomer elitists who use their own kids to make themselves feel better and to control people. And listen, it's always been about control with that generation. Okay, and we're still seeing it today. I mean, you go back and whether you read Saul Alinsky or Cloward and Piven, all their tactics are designed social narcissism. All of their tactics are designed social narcissism. It is you read Rules for Radicals. It is a playbook for gaslighting. A playbook for gaslighting. This is right out of Rules for Radicals. Okay? These are quotes. Power is not what you have, but power is not what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. Power is derived from two main sources, money and people. Have-nots must build power from flesh and blood. These two things of which there are plenty of supply. Government and corporations always have a difficult time appealing to people and usually do so almost exclusively with economic arguments. This generation has been trained to use economics against people as a means of control. Never go outside the expertise of your people. It results in confusion, fear, and retreat. Feeling secure adds to the backbone of anyone. Organizations under attack wonder why radicals don't address real issues. This is why. They avoid things with which they have no knowledge. Sound like narcissism? You want to do something the narcissist doesn't want to do? That's stupid. Only idiots do that. Only assholes go there. Only jerks do this. How many times have we heard it? That generation has been programmed for gaslighting and narcissism. Whenever possible, go outside the expertise of the enemy. Look for ways to increase insecurity, anxiety, and uncertainty. Does that sound like building flying monkeys? Does that sound like manipulation? Make the enemy live up to its own book of rules. If the rule is that every letter gets a reply, send 30,000 letters. You can kill them with this because no one can possibly obey all of their own rules. This is a serious rule. The besieged entity's very credibility and reputation is at stake because if activists catch it lying or not living up to its commitments, they can continue to chip away at the damage. Look for anything, your rules, and use them against you. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Ridicule is man's most potent weapon. There is no defense. It's irrational. It's infuriating. It also works as a key pressure point to force the enemy into concessions. Pretty croon and mean, huh? They want to create anger and fear. What does that sound like? Gaslighting? Mind you, this is the book that's cited by the likes of Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton. All these leftist politicians cite this book for shaping their political ideology. And you mean to tell me that the baby boomers aren't programmed for narcissism? How many of you have heard of Cloward and Piven or Saul Alinsky or Rules for Radicals, and you think it's just one of these things that gets thrown out there that, it's one of these talking points? These are quotes directly from the book. A good tactic is one your people enjoy. They'll keep doing it without urging and come back to do more. They're doing their thing and will even suggest better ones. Radical activists, in this sense, are no different than any other human being. We all avoid unfun activities, but we revel at and enjoy the ones that work and bring results. Don't do anything hard. Just stick with the easy stuff. A tactic that drags on too long becomes a drag. Don't become old news. Even radical activists get bored, so keep them excited and involved. Organizers are constantly coming up with new tactics. Who gets bored? Narcissists. And what do narcissists seek? New supply. You got to make them feel like they're important. Do you understand? This is all socially engineered narcissism. This is why your parents are the way they are. Whether they read this book or not, this was the pervasive wisdom of what was being pushed and what has been being pushed for the last 60 years, starting with that generation. This is why I scream about them. This is why I can't stand this. Why I tell you that generation as a whole is dangerous. Keep the pressure on. Never let up. Keep trying new things to keep the opposition off balance. As the opposition masters one approach, hit them from the flank with something new. Attack, attack, attack from all sides. Never giving the reeling organization a chance to rest, regroup, recover, and re-strategize. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Like a Terminator that never quits, that just keeps coming at you and at you and at you and at you and doesn't let you think, doesn't let you move, doesn't let you do it. That's why I keep telling you guys, this is all by design. All of it. This is the book. You can go look at Hillary Clinton's, Barack Obama's, Bill Clinton's quotes about rules for radicals, Saul Alinsky, Cloward Fox Piven. This is what they're citing. It's a narcissistic gaslighting manifesto that they are gaslighting. They're telling us, they're shoving it in our face and telling us. That's how confident they are about it. That's what your parents grew up with. That's why your parents are the way they are. The threat is usually more terrifying than the thing itself. Imagination and ego can dream up many more consequences than any activist. Perception is reality. Large organizations always prepare a worst-case scenario, something that may be the furthest from the activist's mind. The upshot is that the organization expend enormous time and energy creating its own collective mind, the direst of conclusions. The possibilities can easily poison the mind and result in demoralization. Anybody? Sound familiar to anybody? The poisoning of the mind, the planting of the narcissistic seeds, the moment you were broken. Purposeful. This is the book. This is the book that whether the baby boomer read it or not, this was the book that was pervasive in shaping that generation. If you push a negative hard enough, it will push through and become a positive. Violence from the other side can win the public to your side because the public sympathizes with the underdog. Unions use this tactic. Peaceful, albeit loud, demonstrations during the heyday of unions in the early to mid-20th century incurred management's wrath, often in the form of violence, and eventually brought public sympathy to their side. They beat you into submission. They humiliate you into submission. And in the process, turn themselves into the victim. This could have been written on like WebMD or Psychology Today, but fuck them because I saw what they wrote about narcissistic YouTube channels, so they can, they can eat a dick as well. The price of a successful attack is a constructive alternative. Never let the enemy score points because you're caught without a solution to the problem. Old saw, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Activist organizations have an agenda, and their strategy is to hold a place at the table, to be given a forum to wield their power. So they have a compromise solution. What have I said when you're trying to argue with a narcissist? What do? They always have an answer. Why? In case they need it, in case they get backed into a corner. That's why they plant the seeds of narcissism. So they'll always have an answer. Pick it, pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, polarize it. Cut off the support network and isolate the target from sympathy. Go after people and not institutions. People hurt faster than institutions. This is cruel, but very effective. Direct, personalized criticism and ridicule works. That's the book that formulates the baby boomers. That's the book Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton quote as shaping their political ideology. You want to know why narcissism is so pervasive in our society? That's why. You want to know why I don't like baby boomers as a generation so much? That's why. This is all widely available history. The politicians' quotes regarding these people are on record, and anybody can look them up for themselves. But you're here, and all of you are here because you're trying to figure out narcissism. You're trying to get to the root. You're trying to figure it out. And this is a big part of it. This is a huge, huge part of it. Now, I know a lot of you talk to me about Trump, and he's a narcissist. He might be on some level, but he's not this. So, Ben, basically your parents are just baby boomer terminators that will never change because that's how they've been taught. That's the culture they were raised in. They were raised to be elitist. They were raised to gaslight. They were raised for all of it. Your decision, your choices. A, would you even get the will money? And B, would it change anything if you did? Because all will money really is blood money anyway. You really want to have to sell yourself out to get some money that, let's just face it, your father probably screwed a lot of people over to me to get in the stock market, because we know how honest Wall Street and the stock market has been, don't we? I think you're better than that. We're all better than that. Better to struggle and make it on your own than to kowtow to this. Because when you read the quotes, that's the goal. The goal is to bring you to heal. That's why I read this to you. Because you have to understand what the goal is of the baby boomer parent here. It's the same as the rules for radicals. It's all a means of control. And all it does is cripple you. And they admit it themselves. It's cruel, but it's effective, and they know it. I want to see you make a decision on your own. I'd like to see you walk away from that money that he probably screwed people out of to get anyway. That says more than anyone being in a 1% class. And you'll be able to look at yourself and have pride. Believe me, I'm coming to you from personal experience on this one. Don't take their money. Get out as soon as you can. But don't tell them, because they will ridicule, they will sabotage, they will try to isolate. So, thank you so much for your contribution and your story. It was a really good one. I thank you again. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any advice or opinions in the comments section below. And I know a couple of you probably got some goosebumps hearing something like that, but I'm glad for the story. And remember, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a narcissist you'd like to expose, or a topic you'd like me to cover, you know what to do with the PayPal link, which supports this channel, and my email link to send your stories to in the description box. And remember, when you do send your story to the email link in the description box, to please put at the top of the email whether it's with or without contribution and what name you'd like to go by. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon.